Hello, parents and caregivers. Kat here, that parenting coach. As a trauma clinician and parenting coach, I have had the privilege to be trained in so many incredible, powerful parenting programs over the years. And one of my favorites is the Connect Parenting Program, an evidence based program developed in my home province of BC. One of the reasons why I love it so much is because it really encourages us to look beneath behavior instead of simply reacting to it. One of the guiding principles is that behavior is meaningful. So instead of asking, how do I stop this behavior? We get curious and we ask, what is this behavior trying to communicate? Let's take a deep breath in and out, because every breath counts. What is this behavior trying to communicate? That question, my friends, has shaped not only my work with teenagers, but also my work with children who've experienced trauma, attachment disruptions, and overwhelming stress. Because over the years, I have learned something so incredibly important. Behavior is legit communication. No, for real. Behavior is communication. Sometimes it's communicating frustration, and sometimes it's communicating fear. Other times it might be disappointment. And still, that behavior might be communicating a need for connection. And then sometimes it's an attachment need trying to find its way to the surface. Now, when we talk about teenagers, this gets even more interesting, right? Because teenagers are living in two worlds at the same time. Developmentally, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. They're figuring out who they are. It's painful. They're seeking independence, right? They really want that autonomy. They're spending more time with friends. Maybe they've got jobs and they're going out into the world. They're testing boundaries, your boundaries. And they're practicing making decisions on their own. I'll say that one again, friends. They're practicing making decisions on their own. And their little brain, their brain is wired and it's beginning to pull towards that independence, right? And that's healthy because that's the way it's supposed to be. But here's the really interesting part. So their brain is wired to seek out that independence, and their attachment system just doesn't simply disappear because they're teenagers. They still need safe adults. They still need to know someone has their back. They still need to have a place where they belong, where they can always go home. And so, as we know as teenagers, as ourselves, and if you've had teenagers, you know, you're going to see like a tug of war, right? That I don't need you. I can do it on my own. Followed 10 minutes later by, can you give me a ride? Right? What's for dinner? Yeah. So let's take a deep breath in and out. Because seriously, friends, every breath counts. Have you ever noticed that sometimes your teenager just wants to sit in the kitchen while you're making dinner? On their phone, maybe. Or they're suddenly telling you a story about their day when you at least expect it. Usually when you're busy trying to do something and having to go somewhere. And then 1 minute they're pushing you away. And the next they're quietly checking to see if you're still there. Yeah. That's not manipulation. It really isn't. It's adolescence. Yeah. Wow, can you hear those crows? Teenagers are practicing independence while they're still needing the security of attachment. In fact, it's that attachment security that helps them with their independence. And as a parent, believe me, I get it. It can be really confusing And if we're going to be really real, it can be hurtful, or at least feel really hurtful, especially if you remember that little kiddo, the one that wanted to tell you absolutely everything and always wanted hugs and snuggles. Yeah. But maybe the question isn't, how do I get my teenager to need me again? Because we really don't want that, friends. I think the better question, how do I become a safe place they know they can come back to? Because that's really what secure attachment is about. It's not about raising children who never leave. It's raising children who know exactly where home is when they need it. That's why I encourage every parent and caregiver, any adult really, stay curious. Look beneath the behavior and just simply ask yourself, what might my teenager be needing right now? Again, I want to really highlight this is not because we excuse every behavior, because boundaries matter and safety is of the utmost importance. Accountability, yeah, we want to make sure our kiddos are accountable. All things we need. But understanding what's underneath that behavior is going to help us respond with the wisdom instead of simply reacting to what we see on the surface. And we know that usually doesn't end well, because behavior is communication. And when we remember, children and also teenagers, they borrow our calm before they even borrow our wisdom. So, regulate first, connect second, and then you do the teach. Let's take a deep breath in and out, because every breath counts. And I'm Kat, that parenting coach. And if you want to learn more about the brain, how to calm the nervous system, build stronger connections, one conversation at a time, then be sure to join our growing community. Because parenting can be hard, and it was never, ever meant to be done alone. You got this.